All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about music today, but not just any music. I'm talking about music that tells a story, like a full-on epic movie playing out right in your head. So let's unlock some of those secrets, shall we? Have you ever heard a song that just feels massive? You know, you're watching a movie, the hero steps out, and bam, the music just hits you. You know that feeling, right? The one that gives you goosebumps, that tells you something huge is about to go down. Well, guess what? That is completely intentional. That music has a job to do. So how in the world do they do that? How does music make you feel all that? Well, what you just heard is a perfect example. We're diving into our first section here, music that paints pictures. The official name for this is program music. And honestly, the best way to get it is to think of it like a movie soundtrack, but for a movie that doesn't exist. The composer is giving you all of it. The heroes, the villains, the big fight scenes, the sad moments, just with instruments. This story is literally programmed right into the notes. Okay, so let's break this down. On one side, you've got what's called absolute music. This is basically just a vibe, like a good beat to study to. There's no secret message or hidden story. But then, you've got program music. That is your boss battle theme. It's packed with clues, it's telling you a story, it's got characters, it's music on a mission. All right, so if this is a thing, who was the GOAT? Who was the master of this musical storytelling stuff? The guy who basically invented the playbook for making an orchestra sound like a Marvel movie? Well, it's time to meet the musical director. So here he is, Richard Strauss. And yeah, I know, old black and white photo, but do not let that fool you. This guy was a total rock star, a German composer, an absolute wizard with the orchestra, and famous for something called tone poems. We'll get to that. But here's the crazy part. You've totally heard his work, or at least music that was inspired by him, for real. The best way to think about him is not as some stuffy old composer, but more like the director of a huge, epic blockbuster. Except his actors were the instruments in the orchestra. He'd be like, okay, trumpets, you're the hero. Violins, you're the love interest. And you, the giant kettle drums, you're my explosions and special effects. He was literally directing a movie with sound. Okay, so every great director, every gamer has a special move, right? That one ultimate ability they've perfected. Well, Strauss had one too, and it was a game changer. Let's look at Strauss's special move. And that special move was something called a tone poem. The easiest way to think of it? It's like a one-episode Netflix special. It's a single piece of orchestral music that tells a whole story, beginning, middle, and end. You get the entire journey, all the action, all the feelings, in one go. No sequels needed. So what's the recipe? How did he actually build these stories? Well, it's kind of like his own little tutorial. First, you choose your character. He'd assign an instrument to be a person or an idea, say a trumpet for the hero. Then, step 2, you give it a theme song. It's a short, catchy melody called a motif, and you hear it whenever that character shows up. And finally, step 3, you set the mood. You use volume and speed to show what's happening. Loud and fast for a fight scene, quiet and slow for a sad moment. It sounds simple, right? But the way he mixed it all together, that was pure genius. Okay, so we've got the theory down. We know his secret formula. Now, let's see it in action. Think of this next part like we're watching the trailers for some of his biggest blockbusters. First up, we've got Don Juan. This dude is the ultimate rebel. He's super confident, full of energy, and his life is just one crazy adventure after another. So, the big question is, how do you capture a character like that with just an orchestra? Well, here's how. Strauss hits you with these incredibly fast melodies that just jump right out at you. That's Don Juan's energy and confidence. Then he brings in the big guns, the bold brass instruments like trumpets and horns. That's his heroic, kind of dramatic personality. And the music is always changing, getting faster, slower, louder, softer, which signals all the conflict and action in his life. You don't even need to see a movie. You can literally hear his story unfold. All right, next up, a piece you've already heard. It's the one from the very beginning, also Sprach Zarathustra. Now, it's based on this super deep philosophical book, but don't worry about that. The main idea is actually pretty cool. It's basically the story of humanity leveling up. So the whole thing is supposed to be a journey. That famous opening part, the really epic bit, that represents a giant sunrise, like the dawn of a new age for all of humanity. It's a huge beginning. And from there, different parts of the music take you through different stages, like struggle, discovery, and those big moments of enlightenment. It's a huge, epic story about all of us, told without a single word. So, okay, a guy from over 100 years ago was telling stories with his orchestra. Cool story, bro, but why should you care? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. This is the big reveal. Let's connect the dots from Strauss all the way to the soundtracks you love today. So seriously, why does this matter to you? I'll give you one simple reason. Without the stuff Richard Strauss figured out, your favorite movies, TV shows, and video games would sound, well, totally different, and probably a lot more boring. I'm not kidding. His musical DNA is everywhere. You know that epic, soaring soundtrack in a Marvel movie when the hero makes their entrance? That's basically Strauss. The intense music that starts pumping during a video game boss fight? He wrote the playbook for that. Those dramatic TV show intros that get you hyped? Yep, that too. The techniques he perfected, like giving a character their own theme song, that's the blueprint. It's the foundation for almost all the media music we listen to. So, if there's one thing you walk away with today, let it be this. Richard Strauss showed the world that an orchestra wasn't just for playing pretty music. He proved it could be one of the most powerful storytelling machines ever created. So, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Next time you're watching a movie, or you're in the middle of a game, and you hear that music start to swell up, just for a second, pay attention to it. Don't just hear it, really listen. Ask yourself, what's the story here? What is this music trying to tell me right now?